G'day and welcome to Videodrome Cinema. Here are 10 interesting and fun facts about the amazing Spider-Man. Before going with Andrew Garfield for the role of Spider-Man, the following actors were all in the running for the role. Taylor Lautner, Robert Pattinson, Jamie Bell, Daniel Radcliffe, and Zac Efron. Marc Webb, the director, said that maybe Andrew Garfield isn't the most well-known mainstream actor, but if somebody knows his work, then they know what a great actor he is. And he has talent and intelligence and humor and a kind of human thing going for him. There were a lot of actresses who auditioned for the role of Gwen Stacy. Anna Kendrick, Emma Roberts. For the role of Dr. Connors, they were in talks with Michael Fassbender to take the role, but he ended up going with Magneto in X-Men First Class. For the role of Jonah Jameson, they considered Sam Elliott and Lee Ermey, but they ended up not having the character in the film at all. This is the first Spider-Man movie where Dr. Connors actually transforms into the Lizard. His character was in Spider-Man 2 and 3, but back then another actor was playing him. There were kind of like references that he would transform into the Lizard, but he never ended up doing that in those films, even though it might have been in the script, but the producers never allowed it back then. To prepare for the role, Rhys Ifans met with disabled people and with amputees. And to prepare for the role, he used a method where for an entire month, he did everything with only his left hand. There was a scene in the script where he was supposed to just tie his necktie with only his left hand, but they decided that it was too long a scene, so it didn't get into the film. His right arm was taken out in post-production with CGI, so during filming he had to wear a green sleeve on his arm, which he named Kermit because it was the same color as the frog in The Muppet Show. So in the making of footage and in the deleted scenes, we can see him with this green arm. The storyline for the film is heavily based on elements from the Ultimate Spider-Man comic series' first 7 episodes. One of the plot points is that the mutation has to do with Oscorp, and the other one is that a fight breaks out at school when the villain finds out that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. Officially in the film, the Daily Bugle isn't featured, but they do allude to it. There's a scene where we can actually see the front page of the newspaper. And later on, when the TV is giving a news report about the things that the Lizard is doing, you can actually see a Daily Bugle logo in the corner. It was a creative decision by the director to have more physical effects and less CGI. This was to make the film feel more realistic. They used a Red Epic digital camera to record the film, and this was the first time that they used this type of camera. They would have used this for the first time for Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey, but because the actual shooting for that kept getting delayed, they ended up using it for the first time in The Amazing Spider-Man. This was the very first prototype that they were using on set, so they had an engineer from the camera company there on set, so that in case there was any problems, he could step right in and do something about it. It's a plus little trivia that for the second part, they didn't use this camera. They went back to the 35mm. Most films, it's usually the other way around, that they start with film and then switch to digital. You can see this happening with the Pirates of the Caribbean series, with the newer James Bonds, or even with the Iron Man films. This decision for the second part came down to the cinematographer because he really wanted to use the 35mm film. When Sony decided that they want to reboot the entire Spider-Man franchise, a bunch of directors' names were in the mix. James Cameron, David Fincher, Wes Anderson, and even Catherine Bigelow. It was also the creative decision of the director to have Spider-Man throw his webs with a mechanical invention. In the actual original comic books, it was a mechanical thing on his arm and only later became one of his superpowers. The director said that Peter being able to come up with a machine like that would actually show off his intelligence. In the comic books, Captain Stacy dies when Dr. Octopus and Spider-Man are fighting. And he sacrifices his life when he saves a young boy from being crushed by falling debris. In this film, Captain Stacy doesn't support Spider-Man, but in the comic books he does. And he says on his deathbed that he always knew that Spider-Man was Peter Parker. Gwen blames Spider-Man for her dad's death, and Peter never tells Gwen that he is Spider-Man. Later on, in The Ultimate Spider-Man, Gwen finds out Peter's secret, but then she does end up accepting him. So these were the interesting and fun facts I found for The Amazing Spider-Man. If you enjoyed the video, give us a like, come back and visit us soon, and subscribe to the channel so we can notify you when we put new content out. Thanks, bye.